Yeah, so I just want to address a couple of things before we start. Gonzo's absence tonight was intentional. I mean, perhaps expected by some of you, but it was intentional. I have to say that Tigres, such a well-established, well-respected club, a very famous coach, Miguel Herrera, fantastic coach, fantastic team. It was a good conversation with him before the game, and I appreciated that. I have a lot of respect for Senor Herrera. And third, and most importantly, our team. I didn't have to say anything before the game. We are blessed to have great players. This club has always spent money on the players who fit the culture of the club. We're a humble club. We work. We try to achieve great things. And we always try to win. It's always our objective to win. And that is part of why, our decision to put a strong lineup out there tonight, again, against a very good Tigres team, that was important for us. It was important for this club. It's important for us to showcase the players that we have. I listened in to Nico and Raul's press conference. They are great players. They are great players, and they fit the culture of our club. We spent a lot of money on those players, and I'm happy to have them. Their leadership in that locker room, again, I didn't have to say much before the game to get that group of players motivated. Good.
All right, guys, show of hands for questions. J.O.
Ryan, obviously a big win. I have to imagine from the confidence standpoint, both Raul and Nico mentioned that. How important was it for you guys just to feel winning again? I mean, it hasn't been that long, but just to get back on that side of things.
Yeah, let me, Jeremiah. That's a great question. You guys can hear me clearly through my mask, right? Okay, great question. Because look, I always believe that we have a confident team. Results did not go our way, so I don't need the narrative to be that the team had lost confidence. Yeah, we took 1 point out of 9. You guys clearly, we saw that. But it's not that the team lacked confidence. Maybe we just weren't firing on all cylinders. Maybe we just weren't playing up to our potential for a variety of reasons. The confidence factor, I believe, is a secondary storyline for the team. If you look at some of the performances today, and I could start at the back with Cleveland and Javi, Ymar, Shane. I thought Shane was very good. The back three was solid. JP again. I mean, how many times do we have to talk about JP? I mean, come on. He was fantastic. Freddie Montero. Seems like every time I'm ready to sub him, he scores a goal. I mean, he has confidence. Believe me, you guys, I can tell you, Jeremiah, that I don't have to give Freddie Montero confidence. I don't. So the narrative is not so much, did this win boost the confidence of the team? But rather, I would say that this win kind of solidifies a belief that we understand what MLS is all about. We understand that we're not going to win every game. We understand that going 13-0, 7-0-5, 13 games unbeaten, we understand that was at some point going to come to an end. But we also understand, Jeremiah, that this club has good performances in them, that the players are confident. And that's what I would say the storyline is.
I think you got to 8-0-5 at one point there.
8-0-5, sorry. Yeah. I knew you were going to save me.
Maz, I saw you next.
Yeah, kind of adding on to this. What I know is the patience and perseverance of the two leaders. Patience on Nico while he was rehabbing to get back. And then also in terms of Raul, he hadn't scored in a couple games, and then he comes back and scores. Just what can you say about that leadership that led up to the performance?
Well, both of those guys are humble individuals, and I don't give you guys a lot about what goes on in that locker room, but some of the comments that Nico made to you guys, he echoed those comments in the locker room as well to his teammates. And Raul will be the first one to tell you that he can't do it alone, that he needs help and support. Those are two very tremendous soccer players, but humble individuals.
Nico.
Brian, I just wanted to see if you could elaborate on Gonzalo Pineda, that being a decision that was intentional. Just kind of want to get more.
Gonzo's absence tonight was intentional.
Mickey.
I will answer the next question the very same thing that you did, if anybody else wants to ask. Don't feel slighted.
Okay, could you just at least tell me?
Gonzo's absence tonight was
Oh,
intentional.
no, I was going to go for Raul Ruiz. He kind of had
Oh.
a little. He
You're
had-
taking over the press conference now.
Nico, I'll allow it. Keep going. You're
Sorry,
fine.
well, it was just short. Is Raul okay? He came off with a little knock. Just wanted to know.
Yamar's okay, Raul's okay, everybody's okay. Everybody knows that our next game is a big, very, very big game. You know, they're all thinking about Portland after it was 3-0. I mean, those are all things that we discussed on the bench with the players. You know, it's all good.
Mickey, you were up next.
Thanks. Coach, Nico talked a little bit about how he needs more games essentially to get fit. But I was curious, what do you see in his progression so far on the pitch? Obviously, he had a cameo in the last game against Dallas, and obviously got a lot more tonight and scored a goal.
What I would say is that we kind of bent the rules against Dallas. I mean, maybe Dallas was a little premature, but I felt having him on the bench would be a lift for the team. I wasn't necessarily planning for him to play in that match, but the way the game progressed, we took a little bit of a risk by putting him on the field. Normally when you go through a preseason, because Nico needs a preseason, you start with, you know, depending on your opponent in preseason, you start with 30 minutes or 45 minutes as for your first run out. Then you go 60, then you go 75, and then you build the minutes to 90. That's what happens in a normal preseason. Nico was in his preseason. So for me to get the quality and the minutes tonight was a double bonus. I mean, you guys have to understand, I'm a pretty tempered guy, but inside when I saw Nico score, I mean, I was so happy for Nico. But then, I don't know if you guys remember, it was a play a little bit before, I don't know exactly the timeline, but he got tackled kind of in the upper right side of the field, and somebody tackled him from behind. And that was almost as important as him scoring that goal, because it gave him the confidence to, I'm healthy, I am back. And that to me was just as vital as his golazo.
We'll go over to Jonathan Tannewell next from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thanks, Alex. Brian. You had the opportunity to send Josh Tennessee tonight for a little bit. And this club obviously is used to playing in continental competition, used to having these kinds of big stages. But I wonder what you tell the young kids who come out of the academy about what it's like to play in games like these, what it's like to play against Mexican clubs, maybe for the first time in their careers in something like this.
No different than what I told Josh in a normal MLS game. I don't want to give the guy too much information, the players too much information. Josh came on and did a good job. He did exactly what I asked him to do. You saw a little burst. I mean, he was super excited to get on the field. He ran forward a little bit too much for my liking maybe, but I love it because the kid wanted to win. He wants to play. He wants to contribute. So that's one of his strengths. That's one of his gifts. But I wouldn't say that I say anything different to Josh in this game versus the opening match of this season when we started him, and then, the next match that we played him in, he had a really good start to the season. I don't think my message was any different. Play within yourself, do the things that we know you can do. You try and give them confidence. Sometimes you try and simplify their game. When Josh came back a little bit from his injury, I thought it took him a little bit to get back to what we saw in the first two games. And so we are, as a coaching staff, cognizant of that. And we try and, build up the players' confidence so that they can play in these types of games.
If I may follow up, you mentioned, him wanting him to treat this game like other games. Is that intentional to keep them level-headed in a way?
I don't think we need to keep any of our players level-headed. I think they're all humble. I think Josh fits that mold. Danny Leyva, Reed, they all want to play. I wouldn't say there's anybody within our organization at the academy level, at the U17 level that we've brought into training that thinks that they are better than who they are. That is part of the culture of what we strive to, educate our young players with. This club is built on Nico's hard work. This club is built on Stefan Fry's hard work and training every day. It's built on Raul as a forward. As a forward that, I don't know what his goal scoring record is, but it's pretty darn good. Still came back tonight and defended. So that's the ethos of the club. Humility.
Thanks.
We'll go over to Jeremiah before heading upstairs for a couple on Zoom to Matt Winter. Jeremiah, go for it.
Yeah, Brian, I'm sure you saw or maybe you didn't, but Sporting Kansas City put out a lineup that was
I saw it.
very different lineup than you. Was there any consideration?
Satisfaction?
Yeah, was there any particular temptation to play a lineup like that, or
No. Look, Peter Vermes is an excellent coach, and he's got a game a day earlier than we do. His decisions, I will never, ever second guess any coach in this league's decision, what he does with his team. So that's my statement. I'm happy about what we put out there.
But I'm just wondering if there was any temptation to, was that ever part of the
No,
thought process?
no,
Maybe we
no,
should put out
no,
a second
no,
lineup?
Jeremiah, you know me well enough. This club, look, we want to win every single game. That's every trophy, every game. That is what I believe is what makes us successful. The culture of the club of winning every game. You guys can talk about the Austin game where we played 5 teenagers, and you can say we put out a young lineup. I would counter that those players were prepared, that they had ingrained in them the culture of this club of winning. We went down to Austin not just to have a draw or a good result or good performance and say, we played 5 teenagers and lost. No. Frick that.
It's probably a great transitional moment. Matt.
Nobody can hear me through my mask.
That's right, Brian. Matt, if you're still with us, perfect. I see your face. That's good. I'll let you take it away from press row up there.
No problem. We'll go first to Felipe Maqueda.
Coach, congratulations on this massive win. And I would like to, we can talk about the golazo of Nico Lodeiro or the performance of Raul Ruiz or the goal of Freddy Montero, but I would like to know about the defensive line, the performance of the defensive for this game.
I thought the 3 center backs were tremendous. I thought the three center backs were tremendous. I think there's a lot of talent. And, you know, I'm going to include Felipe, thank you for asking the question, AB, because AB was a part of our success during, you know, times when Javi was playing with Ecuador. And so what I would say is there's some people that say that, you know, AB is too young. There's some people that say that Shane O'Neill isn't any good. There's some people that say, you know, Yaimar should be Defender of the Year. I would say that that group collectively, again, understands everything that we asked them to do, and they were tremendous tonight against, you know, oh, for God's sakes, the center forward from Colombia. He was very good. Paraguay.
Quiñones?
Quiñones.
Well, you know, not Quinones, but the bald center forward. I mean, he was very good. That guy's very good in the air. You watch some of his highlights, his goals. I mean, it was a good performance by all three center backs.
Matt,
Thank
keep
you.
going.
Yep, apologies there on the Zoom. We'll go to last one on Zoom, Alonso Contreras. Go ahead.
Thank you, Matt. How are you, Coach?
I'm very good.
Congratulations on the win. Good morning here in Florida. You mentioned last post-game conference that 5 days were coming to analyze the team. And I would like to ask you if this is the best 11 lineup, or are we expecting any changes against Timbers?
I mean, I know Gio Savarese is an excellent coach, and he's probably watching my comments here. I would say that it's hard for a coach to make changes when you have an impressive performance. But to someone else's earlier question, how many minutes do we push Nico? Obviously, he's a big part of our team. You know, injury updates, you know, did everybody come through healthy? We have a recovery session tomorrow. So, Alonso, I can't tell you exactly, but what I would tell you is I'm very confident in the 20-some-odd players in our group. I know that I have effective options at multiple positions of multiple players that can perform and do a good job.
Okay, Matt, unless there are others upstairs on Zoom, we'll just close out down here in the room.
No one else on Zoom. Go ahead.
Copy that. Thank you. Mickey, go ahead.
Coach, you obviously just talked a little bit about the Timbers, but I'm just curious, what do you tell the team on the heels of this performance when you're going into what is probably the most arduous week that you're going to have? Coming up
Don't
with
waste
road
the
games?
effort and energy and quality that we showed tonight and think that we're already there. That is exactly the message. And that message, Mickey, was not just delivered by me. It was delivered by players as well in the locker room. We need to build on this performance, but let's understand that this is going to be a tough week.
Hello, Coach. Congrats on the win. You've been talking so much about the confidence of the players. Now, when obviously there is another part of the game, which is the script that you wrote as a coach for those players. And it seems that the players follow that script very well. How it makes you feel when the players do it in such a way like today?
Well, it gives you a good feeling inside you when you understand that your players watch the film, they understand the tactics. But I can tell you, I've sat up here on many occasions where we've devised a game plan and the opponent does something different and we don't get a result. It's pro sports, I understand that. But the way Tigres played 4-1-4-1 or 4-3-3, whatever you want to call it, we knew there were pockets of space. We put Freddie Montero and Christian Roldan in those spaces, and I thought that started our attacks very well. You know, how we played out of the back, you know, 1 against 3 and the wingers pressing or the number 10s attacking midfielders pressing at the right moments. I think we did a good job of scouting Tigres and understanding how they wanted to play. And then the thing that I always come back to is, you know, we're a proud franchise, and at home, we want to always try and establish tempo. We always want to try and establish our style of play on our opponent. And I think you saw that tonight. I think we were able to play the way we wanted to play rather than adjust to again, a very well-coached, Tigres team.
And a follow-up for this, the next game is in September. What makes you think, considering the World Cup qualifiers, that will be close to the next game of this Leagues Cup?
We are going to put the best team out there to try and win Leagues Cup. We are going to try and win as many points in regular season because we understand that matters in playoff seeding, home games in the playoffs. We will deal with that when it comes.
Go back to JT.
It's tied a little bit admittedly to the answer you just gave. I think it came up from Paul Kennedy of Soccer America during the game. You guys are going to have a midweek and a weekend game almost every week through Halloween or something like that. It's an incredibly long time. Do you allow yourself long-term planning at all, or do you just have to take it all as it comes?
We always have some form of, look, Paul, whatever Paul said, I didn't hear. But Jonathan, we always do a little bit of planning in advance. We always kind of look at a week and, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? But it always resets to what is the best lineup and formation and tactics for this particular game. That's how this team has been. There's coaches out there that try and overcoach. Simplify the game. Soccer is a simple game in many respects. Simplify it, focus on what you need to do for that particular match, you will be fine.
One or two more. Maz, I saw you.
Yeah, on that note, Brian, has there been, I would say, a better understanding of how to play from the back and get into those spaces in the last few weeks? Is that something you guys have worked upon?
It's something that we always work on. Gonzo's been the expert on, playing out of the back, always making sure that the goalkeepers, everybody knows exactly what's going on. So we always work on that. We've worked on that ever since I took over. I remember Ante Razov used to do patterns out of the back, playing out of the back. We would always practice on that because my personal feeling is that why kick the ball for a 50-50 challenge? You just kick the ball and it's anybody's game when you can establish 100% possession. That just seems common sense to me.